Yeah, sounds good. The most important thing is finding the right person. So we're going to take the time that's necessary to do that. As far as feedback and input, I'm an open door and always have conversations with the players about what they're feeling, what they think we need. But ultimately, we'll all sit down as a leadership group and find the right person.
All right, guys, we're going to get underway. Firstly, thank you for joining us. We're here with the General Manager of the Atlanta Dream, Dan Padover. If you do have a question, please put your hand up and I'll call upon you. We're going to start with some opening comments from Dan, and then we'll move to questions. So we'll kick off questions with Doug from the AP after Dan's opening statements. Thank you again.
Thanks, Liam. Thanks, everybody, for jumping on today. First, I want to start off by thanking Tanisha. Um, Tanisha put a lot of hard work and dedication into making this team competitive again. And I know Tanisha's got a bright future ahead of her in the coaching industry. And on behalf of the whole organization, just really, really want to thank her for everything she did for this team. At the end of the season, we really took a comprehensive look at where we were at and where we wanted to get to, and made the difficult decision that now was the time for a new voice and a new leader. And overall, just looking at where we're at as a team, more than anything, we're very excited. Really like our young core. Our players are excited to be here and really, really looking forward to take the next step. So we're going to spend some time here to find the right voice, the right leader, and really take this team to the next level. So with that, time's yours.
Go ahead, Doug.
Dan, I appreciate you doing this because I think out of the three coaching changes, you're the only GM who's actually decided to talk to the media. So I appreciate you taking the time to do that for us. If I can ask a bigger picture question, is the growth of this league is obviously being talked about everywhere. Is there more pressure now, you think, because you've been around this league for a while, to succeed sort of right away and get things going where you want to be? And maybe coaches have a shorter time period to make things happen. I mean, Tanisha had 3 years, so she had a good chance for you guys to do something. But just big picture, do you think there's more pressure for teams to succeed right away as opposed to maybe a couple years ago when there wasn't the eyes on this and the revenue that's coming in to have a chance to give it a coach more of a chance?
Yeah, there's no doubt this league is heading into a whole new era, which I think is very great and very positive. I can only speak to kind of where we're at, and we're always looking at where we're at and where we want to go. And for us, this was the decision that we made to position us best moving forward, and to get us where we wanted to.
Thanks.
We'll go over to Howard Megdal from the next. Go ahead, Howard.
Thank you, Dan, for taking the time to do this. I guess my question, as you think about who is next for the Dream, is what are the points of emphasis? Is this an X's and O's question? It seemed as if there was a significant buy-in, certainly within the locker room. So I'm wondering, sort of what you see in specific about the person who needs to get you from where you are now to where you guys want to be.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Howard. I think overall, the head coach is a very unique position. So I think we're going to look for a lot of combinations. I think first and foremost, we need a leader. We want someone with a lot of creativity. We want someone who brings joy to the players, the fan base, and someone that can elevate this team to take it to the next level. So we're going to be looking for a lot of different qualities, and most importantly, find the right person.
And just to echo what Doug said, thank you for doing this. It helps drive coverage and accountability.
Thank you all.
We'll go to Ben Pickman from Ben. You there?
Yep, you got me. Dan, just going back to your opening statement, I guess two questions. Just when did you finally come to a decision to make the decision that you guys made? And you mentioned kind of a comprehensive look. Like, what kinds of things were you looking at? Was it record? Was it growth of players? Was it other factors?
Yeah, thanks, Ben. I think where we're at right now, about a week and a half after the season ended, you never want to do anything too quickly. So we sat down, really took a look at where we're at, and came to the decision this week. overall, I think you look at a wide range of things, but basketball is basketball, and you want to do what's best for the basketball team moving forward. And that's how we came to this decision.
You good, Ben?
I mean, I got one more quickie. I mean, did you talk to, Ryan or CP or Tina or, obviously Tina and Tanisha have a very close relationship. Like, did you talk to players as you were working through the decision-making process at all?
Yeah, the decision was made between myself and ownership. Obviously, after we got through yesterday, I spoke with every player as we should, and we're really just looking forward.
We'll jump to Megan. Megan, go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, Dan. Good to see you. Wanted to ask you, you and I have talked over the course of the season about development of the team and kind of the future picture and whatnot. From an expectation standpoint, obviously, I think it kind of goes without saying that you guys are looking to build through the future. You kind of signaled that with your draft. How much control will that new coach have in, for example, obviously this draft coming up, but you still have several draft picks that you haven't even hit, the team, so to speak, yet. Does that factor into the decision at all in terms of like what you want to see going forward?
Yeah, the head coach will obviously have a ton of input on how we're going to play and the players that we'll draft moving forward and all that. But most importantly, we want to get everything we can out of this group. And we're really excited about the assets we have. We've got to continue to go out and get better and get more assets, but it will obviously be a partnership between the head coach and myself on how we build this thing forward.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Go ahead, Emmanuel.
And with all the things that went on, we go through this season, injury was a big part of this season for you. Was that thought about in this decision? Do you still feel like this team should have achieved a little bit more throughout this season, even with the injuries to players like JC, Ryan, and then in the second half, you're losing AP and Cheyenne? Was that a part of the final decision to say, we had losses, but we still feel like we should have had a better run at it?
Yeah, thanks, Emmanuel. Unfortunately, injuries are a part of sports. And we took a look at our basketball team as a whole and felt like this was the right decision at this time moving forward.
Thanks, Dan.
Go ahead, Wilton.
Thank you, Dan, for doing this. I wanted to ask you this question. Obviously, coming into the season, the goal for Atlanta was to be a top 4 team. Obviously, when looking at the dream, things have been centered around Ryan Howard. Going forward with whoever is the new coach, is that still going to be the mindset?
Yeah, look, Ryan's our star. We've been clear about that. And Ryan is going to do everything she can to make herself get better year in and year out. But it's not just about Ryan. We've got a lot of really good, talented players that we're building around, and no one loves this team more than Ryan. So we're excited about her future. She's really excited about the future as well.
Thank you.
And go ahead, Brandon.
Hi, it's Brandolyn with Fox 5 and Women's Hoops Network. Just checking in, and I missed the beginning, so forgive me if this was said in your opening statement. But just wondering, do you plan to, is there a certain timeline for when you plan to make a decision on a new coach? And will the players have any decision on that? That's part one of my question. I'll let you answer that first, and then I have a part 2 follow-up as well.
Yeah, sounds good. The most important thing is finding the right person. So we're going to take the time that's necessary to do that. As far as, feedback and input, I'm an open door and always have conversations with the players about, what they're feeling, what they think we need. But ultimately, we'll all sit down as a leadership group and find the right person.
Gotcha. And then one more question too. Of course, there's always buzz on social media. You can't tune it out even when you want to. Of course, now, there are fans. They've been talking about the fact that now there is only one Black coach in the league. Will you guys take that into consideration as far as when you look into a candidate? Of course, I know the main thing is being qualified for the position, but will that be a part of your search? Will that be, in your thought process?
Yeah, we're going to have a very diverse pool of candidates that we're going to take a look at. And let me be clear: I can't speak for other teams, but for the Dream, race will never play a decision in moving on from a head coach. And there's no place for it in sports. There's no place within the Dream. So really, really looking forward to finding the right candidate in the upcoming weeks.
Thanks so much, and thanks for doing this as well.
I'll just check in. E, you've got your hand up. Did you have another question? Because I don't have anyone else with their hand up. So if I'll give people 10 seconds, kind of.
Yeah, I did have one more. Just
go for it, man.
Yeah, I was. You talked about it a little bit, but the TC having a conversation with her. We know, her relationship with Tanisha and your relationship with her as well as her playing this year. Have you had a chance to talk to her about maybe coming back next year, and will this play a part of it, or you haven't had those discussions yet with TC?
Yeah, Tina and I spoke a little bit last night. We'll continue to talk next week and moving forward, but I think it's too early to talk in any of that regard.
Okay, thank you, Dan.
Go ahead, Megan.
Yeah, Emmanuel also kind of had my mind going there as well. But Dan, I wanted to ask you, obviously with bringing in Tina this year, the thought process I'm thinking was, to help the team with the 5 spot. Is there, or were there conversations about a long-term strategy for that 5 spot, getting someone who can be kind of a centerpiece, literally and figuratively, for this offense?
Yeah, we always need to get better. And obviously 3 of our young core pieces are around the perimeter, and looking at, our front court is always something we're going to evaluate to figure out how we can continue to get better there. So we're always actively.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for your time.
Thank you. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Joe.